early in my life, I knew I was going to be a creative because the world of design and art were number one in my book.
Willie G's place in motorcycle design history, it's unmatched.
How people relate to motorcycles was changed by Willie.
His product speaks for itself and how he has evolved it.
There's an element in his design work that has this soul to it.
I believe I was born with gasoline in my veins and a crayon in each hand.
I know the public, when they thought Harley-Davidson, they thought Willy G.
He started riding with the customers as a Harley-Davidson executive. People start talking to him, and they felt like, well, this guy gets it.
He was a biker himself. He had just the right personality and the right appearance to be the brand. And everybody got that image. It just clicked. Well, you can't invent that.
The custom world back then was anxious for a certain look, and that's where I came into the game.
Willie was one of the 13 guys that stepped up to the plate and bought the company back on a shoestring from AMF.
The fact that you had a guy whose name was on the gas tank and 2 generations removed from the founding fathers of the company was a very powerful thing for us.
Softail models entered the market, and that's when the Harley-Davidson really took off.
His life, his wife, his children, their lives revolve around this Harley-Davidson motor company.
This is our life. We love it.
It was amazing growing up and learning to ride a motorcycle at age 6.
It's the motorcycles, it's riding with friends to an event, it's meeting people, it's the experiences. I think my dad really enjoyed that excitement.
We just have done this together, which is the story of our lives.
So you're on this thing, right? And it's just you and the road and the wind and the trees, and it fills you up. You're flying, but centered. Lost, but found. Every part of your body's engaged, every part of your mind is activated. Synapses firing, dopamine oozing. It's chemical. You get off and you feel reborn. A god. Your spine is tingling, your core is vibrating, and that growl hums in your belly for the rest of the day. Because a great ride stays with you. It just lingers in your muscles and your bones and settles into your consciousness and seeps into the creases of your soul. Every hour is magic hour when you're on a Harley. But the magic isn't about what the bike can do. It's about what the bike can do to you.
You are about to see a film relating American freedom and the exciting world of motorcycles. The answer to every search can be found on the great American freedom machines.
Today we're going to be watching several films that Harley-Davidson produced during the AMF era of the 70s, focusing on marketing the lightweight motorcycles that were so popular at the time. The first one's called The Great American Freedom Machines. For 1965 through 1967, Harley-Davidson sold more lightweights than middle and heavyweights, sportsters and touring bikes, combined. Harley's partial purchase of Italian motorcycle manufacturer Aermacchi enabled this lightweight expansion. Harley-Davidson's Italian lightweights represented a significant portion of the product line through most of the 1970s. Our 1973 product film showcases the entire Harley-Davidson line, 10 models, half dozen of them lightweights. During this period, we made everything from little mini bikes up through on and off-road 175s, 350cc motorcycles. The company had repeatedly gone to lightweights in times of change and challenge, and the focus of these films is showing how you can have fun on 2 wheels with a wide variety of products for all kinds of riders. We're trying to tell people they're easy to ride, easy to park, they're economical, both to buy and to operate, but most importantly, they're fun. The Great American Freedom Machine starts with a young boy sort of looking bored, and then a shortster magically seems to ride up in front of him, and he literally levitates in happiness before running sort of cartoon-like down the hill and hopping on. A lot of this film looks very 1970s, with the soft focus, nice little lens flare pops happening. There's kind of a nice romantic sort of pastoral feel to some of the stuff. There's a lot of clouds and frisbees and dogs and, riding through the woods and going upside down, flipping sideways, and, anything to catch the attention of the viewer. Many of the films that Harley-Davidson produced during this era, not surprisingly, were shot in the Milwaukee area, and people who know the city can see everything from the Hone Bridge being constructed to the old county stadium. But there's also footage from the Boot Hill in Daytona and a great little sequence of nighttime riding along Hollywood Boulevard in 1972-73. You can see there's a focus in some of this film on real off-road riding. There's lots of bumps riding through water. You see a log in the road and you purposely ride over it rather than avoid it. There's a conscious differentiation between, kind of our touring and cruising line of heavyweights and what we're showing is possible on these smaller lightweights. Our lightweight lineup increased to 8 different models in 1975 with the introduction of the SX250. This 1975 product film focuses on the SX175 and that new model, the SX250. In the 80s and 90s, the company really did focus on touring and cruising bikes, and that kind of created this misconception that that's what Harley does. Throughout its history, though, Harley-Davidson has produced a wide variety of bikes for all sorts of motorcycling activities. The 21st century presents its own set of challenges, and Harley-Davidson is once again transforming its product line, adding new models and, among other things, going back to its roots as an adventure touring company.
Harley-Davidson, the greatest name on two wheels.
Basically, bikes. I started my career doing a lot of, well, not my career, but early in my career, I did about 11 biker films in 5 years, most for Roger Corman. And we had a group of us, 4 or 5 of us, Jack Nicholson, myself, Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda, Michael Parks. We would be the guys that would do the biker movies. And there was a lot of acid and stuff in those movies, so they were kind of drive-in movies. Nobody's ever made a really great motorcycle movie. Ours were kind of exploitation movies for drive-ins, and that's what they did, and we'd make them for about $160,000 in 10 days, and they'd make $5 or $6 million in the drive-in, and they made a company called American International Pictures, AIP, and Roger Corman. What attracted me to this material was the dialogue and the care for relationships that weren't working, that were broken. And from what you just saw in there, that these people would carry on like that in front of a 7-year-old little kid is disgusting. But I've had people in my life that have done such things, and I'm sure a lot of other people have too. And I like the fact that somebody wrote that down with a passion to get that on screen. People see it. I don't know what Tom's background is, but trust me, there's something going on there that we saw in this movie. And it makes sense, and it works. And the most interesting thing about it is it's audience-orientated, because there's no age group that should see this movie except anyone between 10 and 80. Or 90, I'm 80. So it's just because, and the bikes aren't what the movie's about. The movie's about behavior and people and heart and courage and this girl being out to go out there and get done. When I was 11 years old, my mother said to me, "How come you never come home after school? Your track practice," because I was a big runner, is over by 4:30, 4:45. You're never home till 6:15. What do you do? I didn't have a good relationship with my mother. I said, well, I go out and do stuff. I have a friend, I go out and do stuff. Well, what do you do that's more important than coming home and being on time for things here? And when in my house, you had to wear white gloves to dinner and dress in a suit every dinner for 18 years, from the time I was 3 years old on. And I said, I tell you what I do, Mother. Me and my friend like up. And that's what I loved about whoever wrote this script, because he may have waited till later in his life, but he's saying, hey, folks, if you want to go these kind of routes, this is what can happen. And it is people that, because of their human spirit, rose above it and, excuse the expression, but got us done. You know what I mean? And the whole thing that I say in the movie about one man, one horse, and this is what it is, you know, is synonymous with the bikers. The thing that's neat about it is, this is not a Western, but it is what the Westerns were about. This is a Western because it's still on motorcycles, which is why people left East St. Louis every April and went 15 miles a day in a covered wagon or on a horse by himself all the way to Sacramento. And not for gold. This was even before gold. They went because they knew the following phrase, if you take the song, and that's what this movie's about in the bike culture. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. And what do you think he saw? What he saw was a chance for a bigger tapestry, like the pioneers saw. That's why when these guys get on bikes, whether the old lady's on the back or not, they are doing something no one else is really doing. They're getting out there and they're not risking their lives, but they're risking to find what they really want to find. It's like in Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield says he wanted to just grab the brass ring. That's all these folks want to do. And they just don't want to be hassled by people on the way. And all the negativity about bikers and outlaw motorcycle gangs and everything else. All the bikers I was around, and I was around from Sonny Barger to all the Hells Angels in Oakland and San Bernardino and everything else, and the bona fide outlaw guys. And on my jacket in this movie, it says 1% here. That's because they're the 1% of society that thinks they don't belong or don't fit. And all they want you to do is just accept them. They want to be accepted. Everyone I knew in the days we were going in the 60s were all Korean veterans, and they were the most patriotic guys I ever knew. Their biggest day of the year was Memorial Day. You know, now they don't even celebrate it on Memorial Day, but all the bikers do. They wait till the 30th of May, and that's when they celebrate it, because that's when it is. So there's a history here that in the movie makers and the crew and the productivity. I mean, I'm here one day and I saw 20 days of work done in a day because everybody pulled their oar. And it's very rare to see. And we're talking wildcat crews. I mean, I don't know where all you came to. I don't think you've done 10 movies together, you know what I mean? And it's a joy to see, and it's a delight, and there's an energy here that is really interesting. But the biggest thing is the story itself and the pictures that the story will show you. Because the man didn't make a movie about bikers. He made a movie about people. And as long as he stays that way, that kid will do big stuff. And as long as people like you have faith in a kid like that, to hang in there with him. He's got problems. He's got to learn about time constraints. He's got to learn about he doesn't have as much to spend as he thinks he does. But he molded a group of people together in a short period of time that worked just like a team. I'd never heard anybody yell today. I never heard an argument. I never saw anything. It was just smooth. That is really rare. So if the folks get out and see this movie when it gets out, and you got to get it out there, and it will get out there. I don't know who you go to and show distributors, but any distributor would be nuts not to pick up a movie like this, because this is money. You know, I'm not saying it's going to win Oscars or anything like that, but it's going to get the folks' attention. And not just the folks that go to biker movies, but people that want to know why we behave why the way we do in times of crisis. And that's what this does. And you have a little girl's point of view, an older man's point of view, a guy in prison's point of view, and the city or wherever it is point of view of who those people are in their community. And that's really all I have to say, but that's what you got here. You know, you got lightning in a bottle. If you carry it on from here, you know, you're good.
Born to Ride is brought to you in part by 866 Law Friend. Ride safe, ride smart. Offices in Palm Harbor.
Born to Ride.